Hello friends, let us plan 2025 together. This chart represents my 2024, and today let's plan 2025 together. So first, let me explain this chart. So I divided my life into 7 different categories. The first one is learning. Learning is extremely important to me, so it deserves a category all by itself. Family is family. I also include friends in this category too. There's mental health, physical health, financials, career, and romance. The way I'm going to structure this video is first I'm going to explain what happened in 2024. Then I'm going to revisit my ideal life and my ideal day. This is really important because you need something to work towards. Like you need to know what you're actually working towards. Then finally lay out the goals for next year. All right, let's go.
A lot has happened since the last time I saw you.
So I'm just going to actually quickly go through where I think I am, like current state of affairs, before moving on to setting new goals. Okay, so first learning, I think, I did pretty well with that. A lot of like self-learning when it comes to like AI things. I read a lot of books as well. On the family/friends side of things, I actually don't think I did a really good job here, especially when I started traveling so much. I had many days when I felt so lonely. I really did not expect that kind of loneliness. So this is something that I would actually really like to focus on for this year. For last year, I think I did really well on the mental health side of things. I finally addressed a lot of like these issues that I've had for a really long time that I was just kind of like ignoring and not dealing with my emotions. Like I said earlier, it's like a tendency I have. Finally found a really good therapist. I'm working through those things as well. And I'm genuinely so much happier and just okay with myself compared to before. Physical health. Okay, so that has definitely declined in the past year. And it's something that I think I really need to work on this year. Mostly just because of traveling and just like not having good routines. Financials. So I put it kind of like in the middle. I definitely depleted a lot of my savings up to like mid this year, but I also did start like focusing a lot more on learning more about personal finance, filling the gaps in my knowledge, as well as now have like a budget and then sticking more towards that. So I would say it's like meh, it's like decent. And on the career wise, I think I really figured that part out and I'm just genuinely really happy with where I am right now. And finally, romance. Oh my gosh. I genuinely thought that by the time I turned 29, I would be married and if not like ready to have kids, but like ready to have kids. I genuinely thought that for myself, but it didn't work out the way that I thought it would. So actively working on that too. The next step is I want to revisit the ideal day for myself and the ideal life that I have for myself. So when I was rewriting my ideal day and my ideal life, this has actually stayed really consistent throughout since I did it the first time when I just turned 26. My ideal life is still a life in which I have a lot of freedom, financial freedom, location freedom, time freedom, which is the ability of doing things on your own time, and finally intellectual freedom, the ability of pursuing your intellectual interests, whatever it is that may be, without being limited by anything. So that's very much still how I want my life to be. And I think I've made pretty good strides towards that now. And it's still the goal that I'm aiming for. Like one day I want to be able to write a book. I actually want to be able to make a game as well. All of these things. I still have a really big emphasis on my family as well. I want to have a family. I want to be able to have very close relationships with them and also still be surrounded a lot by nature. Being able to go biking and hiking and just walk around nature. One part that has changed though is that I thought that I wanted to like fly all over the world forever and give like talks and speeches and do like those cool things. And I actually did that. I realized that that part was really fun, but I actually much prefer to lead a more chill lifestyle. If you haven't done this exercise yourself, I really recommend that you do it. Write down as much detail as you can. What is your ideal life and what is your ideal day? I'll actually put mine on screen for you if you want to exactly check out what I wrote. This is really important because only when you know what it is that you're aiming for, what your goal is, what you actually want, are you able to come up with specific goals to achieve that. So many people just kind of internalize goals from other people, like your parents, your friends, and all these different things, without carefully thinking about what they ultimately want in their lives. Because ultimately speaking, whatever anybody else says, you're the one that has to actually live out your life. And as Annie Dillard says, how we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. All right, let us now move on to the final section where we're actually going to set goals for the coming year. Okay, so some of you may have heard about SMART goals before. It is an acronym that represents how you should set your goals in a way that allows you to be very clear about it. Research shows that it increases your likelihood of achieving those goals between like 10 to 40%. The S stands for specific. So instead of just saying something like, I want to have a good job, actually define what that good job is. Maybe it's like making a certain amount of money. Maybe it's like a certain lifestyle that you want to live. M stands for measurable. Measurable will be something that you can actually evaluate if you've achieved it or not. Like you want to make a X amount of money, or you want to be only working Y amount of time. Achievable means something that's within reason, not like, I want to be Batman, you know?
Hi, Batman.
Relevant is something that actually matters. So that's actually why I said earlier, it's really important to say what your ideal life is and what your ideal day is going to look like, because you want to make sure that your goals are relevant towards that lifestyle that you want to have. And finally, time bound. You need to have a set timeline for things, where else it's just gonna be like, oh, someday I will do it. Like, I want to do this before I'm 30, or like, I want to do this in the next 3 months. With the help of ChatGPT, I came up with a list of SMART goals for the different categories that I have, and I will share some of them with you guys. So for the learning category, it's something that I'm still very much prioritizing and I want to continue focusing on for this year. By December 31st, 2025, I will complete at least 2 AI courses with one focus on agents or creating AI products / automations, and share them with you guys with course summaries. You might have noticed that on my channel, I've been doing these course summaries, little speed runs, so I'm going to continue doing that for at least 2 courses. Right now, I'm interested in agents and in terms of how to use it in products and automations, but given the speed of AI, that could possibly change, but it's just something that I will put down for now. Next, I will learn a new language. So I've said this a few times, and I actually have started learning Japanese in order to be able to watch anime without subtitles, but I recently actually signed a lease and decided to move to Hong Kong. So I am actually going to change that language to Cantonese because that makes a lot of sense. The SMART goal is to at least be able to order food by the end of the year. The category that I really want to focus on this year is actually in the friends and family category. Because I've been traveling so much, I really started missing that sense of community. I just didn't realize how much I took for granted being able to have friends around. Like if you've ever experienced deep loneliness, genuinely sitting there by yourself, just feeling completely alone, or even being, a crowd, I just feeling incredibly alone and lonely. You will know what I mean by this. So this year, my SMART goal is going to be, I will make at least 2 to 3 close friends that I see often and have a community in Hong Kong by going to at least one event with new people every week and having a meaningful social interaction 3 times a week. This is actually really challenging for me because I get social anxiety, but it is something that I'm going to commit to. And by meaningful social interaction, it could be anything. It has to be in person. So the social interaction has to be in person. I will also commit to visiting my family in person at least once every 3 months, if not more. Physical health is also going to be a huge emphasis on that for this year because I let that slide so much in the past couple of years. So I will work out every day. That probably sounds very aggressive, but let me explain. When I say I'm going to work out every day, I'm counting anything. It can be hiking, it can be playing sports, walking, running, gym, whatever it is, but I want to commit to doing something intentionally active every single day, even if it's only for 10 minutes a day. I find that when I build up that habit of physical exercise like this, it helps a lot in just keeping active and healthy. And under finances, I honestly let this slip quite a lot. And now that I'm 29, I'm going to be turning 30. I feel like I'm entering into a new stage of my life, and it's something I want to be a lot more responsible and intentional about. So I'll continue learning about personal finance, and I will stick to a budget of at least saving 20% of everything I make towards either investments or buying a home. Not really sure about the housing market right now, so that's why I said investments or a home. So going back to this chart here, this was my 2024. And in 2025, the areas that I want to really specifically boost up are going to be this, and this. With these other things, I still have my SMART goals for that, but it's something that I feel like I'm pretty on track for. But these 3 are things that I want to focus on. Hopefully by the end of 2025, this will be like this will be here, and this will be here. If you're interested in self-learning STEM subjects, I really recommend that you check out Brilliant. Brilliant is a STEM learning platform that specializes in interactive hands-on learning. When I was interviewing for Meta, and it was actually Meta that recommended to me that I should use Brilliant to brush up on my math and stats before the interviews. And that's because it's just so effective at teaching STEM subjects through interactive problem-based learning. Brilliant incorporates little quizzes, analogies, and just little dopamine hits that help a lot when you're feeling bored or discouraged, which I feel like for STEM subjects, it is pretty easy to feel bored and or discouraged. If you're interested in Gen AI, they have a short and sweet little course that is a really fun overview, and it actually doesn't involve any coding. They also have timeless offerings like math and stats, programming with Python, as well as new course offerings with topics like neural networks and quantum computing. You can join in millions of people already learning on Brilliant by going to this link over here, also linked in description, or by just scanning the QR code on screen. If you go through my link, you'll get a 20% off the annual membership. There you have it. Thank you so much for watching the entirety of this video. This is a lot more personal than I usually get. Hope it was helpful. I hope this is something that you're also going to do now to plan for your 2025. And I wish you the best of luck. And I'll see you guys in the new year.